بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدى هدى نبينا وإمامنا وقدوتنا وحبيبنا محمد صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. بإذن الله تعالى وبعونه, we're going to deal with a topic today in the hopes that we can shed light on the importance of the issue, and also in the hopes that we will more than anything comprehend and then practice the issue of al-akhuwatu fil Islam, the Islamic brotherhood, and the fiqh of the Islamic brotherhood. And what does it mean? What is the Islamic brotherhood? And before we begin, ikhwati fillahi, I would like to build this class, this lecture, this nasiha, this dhikr. I would like to build it upon a principle that every Muslim man and woman has to understand. They have to practice it, call to it, be upon it. And that is the principle the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa radiyallahu anhum ajma'een, they are the example for us. What was the deen for them is the deen for us. And what was not the deen for them should not and could not be the deen for us. So whatever issue we're dealing with, if it is an issue of this deen, then the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa radiyallahu anhum ajma'een, they have dealt with it. So what we have to do is look at them as an example. Allah Ta'ala has established this in the Quran, this principle, this concept. And the Prophet ﷺ has established it in his authentic sunnah. So, anyone who is a revert to this religion, you've embraced the religion of Islam, don't listen to the jama'at of the Muslims, don't listen to the imams of the masajid of the Muslims, don't listen to the opinions of the Muslims when they cannot support what they're saying and what they're doing with the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If someone is understanding something about this deen that they didn't understand it that way, then it is mardud, it's rejected. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَمَنْ يُشَاقِقَ الرَّسُولِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمَ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. Whoever opposes the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after the knowledge, the guidance has come to him, and he follows other than the way of the believers, radiyallahu anhu, then we will turn him to whatever he wants to go to, and will lead him into the hellfire. And what an evil abode. That's a dalil from the Quran that it is not permissible for us to go against the way of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because they were the believers when this ayat was revealed. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran to prove this point in so many ayat. فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. Allah said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if they believe the way you and your companions, because it's the plural, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ أَنْتُمْ, the Prophet and his companions, if they believe the way you believe in your companions, فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا, then they are guided aright. You cannot practice this religion other than what the companions brought to us as the example, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. The Prophet told us sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in an authentic hadith, افترقت اليهود على 71 فرقة وافترقت النصارى على 72 فرقة وستفترق أمتي على 73 فرقة كلها في النار إلا واحدة. قيل وما الواحدة يا رسول الله؟ قال صلى الله عليه وسلم الذي على مثل ما أنا عليه اليوم وأصحابي. The Jews broke up and they divided into 71 sects. The Christians broke up and divided into 72 sects. And my ummah is going to break up into 73 sects. All of those sects will be in the hellfire except one. Which one is that, Ya Rasulullah? He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one that is doing what I'm doing today and my companions. He just didn't say what I'm doing today. The people who are doing what I'm doing today and my companions. They are the example for us, ikhwan. And Najum, amanatun lis-sama. فإذا ذهبت النجوم أتى السماء ماتوعا. وأنا أمنة لأصحابي فإذا ذهبت أتى أصحابي ما يوعدون وأصحابي أمنة لأمتي إذا ذهب أصحابي أتى أمتي ما يوعدون. He says sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ikhwani, in proving this point, the stars, they are the protectors of the heavens. As long as there are stars in the sky, the heaven won't be destroyed. The stars help to protect and to keep in place and to keep the sama together. But if the stars go, then what the heavens have been promised is going to happen. It's going to come and split open and rent asunder. And I am, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the protector of my companions. And if I go, what my companions have been promised is going to come to them. And my companions are the protectors of this ummah. If my companions go, then what my ummah has been promised is going to take place. So the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam protect us. So we want to build this whole topic of the akhuwah in al-Islam on this point, on this mafhum, this understanding. Because ikhwati fillah, the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were human beings like we are human beings. And whatever we're dealing with, they dealt with the same issues. And then al-Islam came and showed them how to do the thing correctly. So they dealt with people who drank khamr, people who were highway robbers, people who were murderers, people who used to steal, people who committed zina, fornication. Just like we fall into dhunub and ma'asi, they also fell into the same dhunub and ma'asi. They're bashar, just like we're bashar. So they dealt with the issue of Islamic brotherhood. As Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned so many ayats telling us what their condition was. When He said, Tabaraka wa ta'ala, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ كُنْتُمْ أَعْدَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ فَأَصْبَحْتُمْ بِنِعْمَتِهِ إِخْوَانًا وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَا حُفْرَةٍ مِّنَ النَّارِ فَانْقَذَكُمْ مِنْهَا كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ آيَاتِهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. Remember, as Allah mentioned in the Quran, hold on to the rope of Allah all together. Hold on to the habl of Allah all together. And don't be divided amongst yourselves. And remember the favor of Allah upon you when you were enemies one to another. And Allah joined your hearts together and He made you brothers. You were on the brink of the pit of the fire of hell, about to fall in, but Allah saved you. These are the ayat of Allah that He gives to you in the hopes that you will get the hidayah of Islam. This ayah is describing the condition that the companions who were human beings were dealing with at that particular time. And that they were mukhtalifun, muqtatilun, fima bayna anfusihim. They were people who were disunited. The distance between the east and the west was closer than their hearts with each other prior to Islam. They were racist towards each other, and they hated each other. And they looked and they found every opportunity and every reason to remain divided. So the ayat is talking about the condition of the Arabs in general, but specifically what happened with the Ansar of Al-Madinah. The Ansar are made up of two tribes, the Aus and the Khazraj. And they were at each other's necks fighting over issues that took place in Jahiliyyah. They were fighting because of a divorce that took place 200 years ago. If you were to ask one of them during the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, why do you have a problem with his family? He would say, I don't know. I just know we don't like them and they don't like us. Like some of the Muslims, if you ask them, why do you have a problem with that particular Muslim family, your brothers, your sisters? They'll say, I don't know. It's just been like that for as long as I can remember. That's how their condition was. They were fighting each other over a horse race that took place 300 years ago. And then Rasulullah came, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah Ta'ala put their hearts together. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran concerning the thing that was the ultimate success in bringing them together. When he said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, هو الذي أيدك بنصره وبالمؤمنين وألف بين قلوبهم لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا ما ألفت بين قلوبهم ولكن الله ألف بينهم. Allah is the one who helped you, Ya Muhammad, with the Nasr. And He also helped you with the believers. Allah brought their hearts together. If you, Muhammad, if you were to spend all of what was in the earth, if you made the infaq of all of the treasures in the earth, you wouldn't have never brought their hearts together. Ever. Impossible. But Allah brought their hearts together. So this ayah deserves, ikhwani, our reflection and some ponderance. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the most intelligent person. He had the most hikmah. He had the most knowledge. He had the most ikhlas. But despite that, he wouldn't have never been able to bring the people together. The best of the people, the companions. Rasulullah had more ikhlas, and he is the Habib of Allah and the Sayyid of Bani Adam, and Allah loves him. And yet he wouldn't have never been successful if it was left to him to go to bring them together with his own resources. لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا. If you gave everything in the earth. So if we were to gather up all of the money in the earth, all of the platinum, all of the gold, all of the diamonds, all of the oil, all of the cash, all of the currency, and gave it to the people and said, hey people, be united, be brothers. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. Because people are different. The Somalian is different from the Pakistani, and the Pakistani is different from the Arab, and the Arab is different from the African American, and he's different from the white man. So if you gave the people all the money in the earth, they're going to find reasons to be different just due to nature, the way they're created. But Allah put their hearts together. Not you, Muhammad, Allah. How did Allah put their hearts together? With the tawheed of al-Islam. The tawheed of Allah. They started to worship one God. They started to make the ibadat of al-Islam like the salah. When the people come together and they get in the row, and they tolerate each other, and they get close to each other, behind one imam, following his movements. The zakat, some of them are rich, some of them are poor. The aghniya, they do not forget the huquq of the fuqara. And the fuqara are appreciative of that, so they come together. They all fast collectively in the month of Ramadan. And they make hajj all together in the same clothes. Allah brought their hearts together with this deen. So we see, ikhwani, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Abu Dhar al-Ghaffari, radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. These companions were Arabs who were the Arabs that were pure. Their blood was not mixed with any non-Arabs. They were the purest of the Arabs and the best of the Arabs in their lineage. When they took this religion, they became brothers to people who were different from them, like Bilal ibn Rabah al-Habashi. The Ethiopian man, his life, what he knows, his food, his clothes is different from the Arabs. But Bilal became a brother to them and they became a brother to Bilal. Salman al-Farisi, all the way in Persia, his clothes, his ta'am, everything, his adat, taqaleed, customs, culture, everything different from the Arabs. But because of the deen, they became brothers. Suhaib al-Rumi, Suhaib was from Rome, grew up in Rome. How far is Rome from the culture of the Arabs? He became their brother. Even Ikhwani, some Jews like Abdullah ibn Salam, like our mother Safiya bint Huyay radiyallahu anhuma, Jews became brothers to those Arabs. And Allah has described the condition of the Yahud when He said in the Quran, لَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الْيَهُودِ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. You're going to find those people who hate the Muslims more than anyone else. Who hates the Muslims most? The Jews and the Mushriks. The Mushrikun, they hate the Muslims because At-Tawheed is against Shirk. And the Yahud, they hate the Muslims because they have hasad for so many things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed the Muslims with. The point here is, the Yahud, they are the people who have the most hatred, enmity, and problems with the Muslims, and yet, when they embraced the religion of Al-Islam, they became brothers to Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Ukasha, and the rest of the companions, radiyallahu anhum. So we have to take a lesson out of that book. If we were to try to unite and become brothers based upon money, it's not going to work. Based upon hizbiyah, it's not going to work. Based upon anything other than this deen, it's not going to work. That is what we gain from the lesson in this particular issue. So the akhuwah of al-Islam, the brother of al-Islam, the brotherhood, it has to be understood, ikhwani, and it has to be practiced after it is understood. As Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned, ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَذِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. Whoever exalts the institutions of Allah, it is a sign and a proof of the taqwa that is in his heart. The Brotherhood of Al-Islam is an institution of Al-Islam. Just as that adhan that we heard before Salat al-Asr is an institution. The Salat is an institution. This Masjid is an institution. The ladies' hijab is an institution. Sha'ira from Al-Islam. No one puts down the sha'air of Al-Islam except something is wrong with his iman. And the people who put up the sha'air of Al-Islam, it's a dalil of the taqwa that's in their hearts. The Kaaba is an institution, a sha'ira, and so forth and so on. So this brotherhood, as it relates to comprehending the fiqh of the Brotherhood of Al-Islam and how to be brothers to one another, based upon what we saw from the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, there are too many things that need to be mentioned. But I just want to share with you just very briefly a few incidents just to show you their understanding of al-wala wal-bara, their understanding of who my brother is and who my brother isn't. In America, black people in America, we call other black people, yeah, that's my brother, and he's a non-Muslim, it's my brother. What's up, brother? Were the companions understanding that, like that? Take a look. Too many examples, we'll deal with 2 or 3. First example is what happened in the Battle of Badr. Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu was a Muslim, and his son Abdurrahman, his son Muhammad was a non-Muslim on the day of Badr. They were fighting each other. His son had an opportunity to kill Abu Bakr's father, but he intentionally turned away from his father and preoccupied himself somewhere else in the war. After the war and after the son became a Muslim, the son told him, Ya Abi, on the day of Badr, I had an opportunity to kill you, but I didn't, because you're my father, and I respected that. Abu Bakr said, radiyallahu anhu, "Lo kunta makanik laqataltuka." If I was in your position, I would have killed you. If I would have seen you, I would have killed you, my son. The companion Suhail ibn Ra, his brother was caught in the battle of Badr. They tied him up to get the ransom money. They didn't kill all of the people. They wanted to get some ransom money. The Muslims were poor, they needed some money. So instead of killing them, Umar radiallahu anhu came up with the idea, let's ransom them off. They are relatives, plus we need some money. Or Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said that to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They tied that man up. His brother came, who was a Muslim. When the non-Muslim brother saw his brother coming, he got happy. Here's my brother, he's going to save me. Here's my brother, he's going to pay the money. Here's my brother, even though he's a Muslim, he's going to look out for me with my enemies. The brother came to his brother looking mad, looking, frowning. And then he looked at the Muslims and he smiled at the Muslims, his captives, and he said, "Shaddidu alayhi fa inna ummuhu ghaniya." Tie him up very tight. Tie him up good, because his mother has a lot of money. They understood, ikhwani, who the brother is to the Muslim. They understood that. They understood Allah's statement, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tattakhidhu aba'akum wa ikhwanakum awliya in istahabbu al-kufr ala al-iman. وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّكُمْ مِنْهُمْ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ قُلْ إن كان آباؤكم وأبناؤكم وإخوانكم وأزواجكم وعشيرتكم وأموال اقترفتموها وتجارة تخشون كسادها ومساكن ترضونها أحب إليكم من الله ورسوله وجهاد في سبيله فتربصوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره. They understood that. Oh, you who believe, do not take your fathers and your brothers as awliya over the believers. Whoever takes, if your father and your brothers prefer kufr over iman, and whoever does that from amongst you, then he is from the zalimun. He's from the oppressors. Tell them, Ya Muhammad, tell the Muslims, if your fathers and your sons and your brothers and your tribe and your clan, if your fathers and your sons and your brothers and your clan and your money and your tijara and your homes, if any of that is more beloved to you than Allah and His Messenger, obeying Him and practicing His deen, taking His sunnah, when your brother or your father or your clan say or do something against the deen, you choose what they say over the deen. If all of that is more beloved to you than Allah and His Messenger and making jihad in the cause of Allah, then just wait until Allah brings about His affair. Just wait until Allah brings about His affair. Abu Bakr and his companions, they understood that. Radiyallahu anhum ikhwani. And the examples of that are too many. Too many. And Fath Mecca, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to conquer Mecca, the Prophet, he said to the people, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, man dakhal al-Kaaba fahuwa amin. Whoever goes to the Kaaba and he remains by the Kaaba, he will be safe. وَمَنْ خَرَجَ مِنْ مَكَّةَ فَهُوَ آمِنٌ. Whoever leaves Mecca, he will be safe. We're not going to come looking for you if you get out of Mecca. وَمَنْ دَخَلَ بَيْتْ أَبِي سُفْيَانَ فَهُوَ آمِنٌ. And whoever goes into the home of Abu Sufyan, you will be safe and secure. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he raised up Abu Sufyan, and he deserved to be raised up. In this dunya that we're living in right now, I can't think of a single man, a single personality who is comparable to the personality of Abu Sufyan as a kafir. I don't know any personality today equal to Abu Jahl as a kafir, Abu Lahab as a kafir. Those people in their personalities, they were up there. They were strong in their personality. No president I know from the Muslims or non-Muslims. No rich man I know from the Muslims or the non-Muslims. It's similar to Abu Jahl, not to mention Abu Sufyan. When they were kuffar, we're talking about their personalities. So a person like Abu Sufyan, if he comes to the deen, it's going to be good for him and the Muslims. So at the end of the occupation of Mecca, Abu Sufyan wanted to embrace the religion of Islam. He went to the Prophet ﷺ. This hadith is in Sahih Muslim on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, from those companions who accepted Islam a long time ago at the Ridwan, at the Bayat al-Ridwan. Abu Sufyan was going to Rasulullah ﷺ and Bilal and Salman and Suhaib al-Rumi. They saw him and they said out loud, "Ma akhadat suyufu Allahi min aduwillahi ma akhadaha." The swords of Allah did not hit the proper place, meaning you should have been killed, Abu Sufyan. We wish you would have gotten killed here in Mecca. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu heard that. Knowing the position of Abu Sufyan, he said to those three weak companions, du'afa, masakin from the companions, أَتَقُولُونَ هَذَا لِشَيْخ قُرَيْشِ وَسَيِّدِهِمْ? Do you say such a thing to the Shaykh of Quraysh and their leader? Abu Bakr went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told him what they said. Ya Rasulullah, this is disrespectful. We're Muslims, we respect people in their positions, even if they're kuffar. And we're trying to give this man da'wah Allah. Look what they said to him. This will turn him away from the religion, and it's disrespect. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Abu Bakr, the best of this ummah. Not only is he the best of this ummah, but he is the best human being after the Anbiya and the Rasul. Our aqidah is Abu Bakr and Umar are the best human beings after the Anbiya and the Rasul. Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Rasulullah said to Abu Bakr, Ya Abu Bakr, لعلك أغضبتهم وإن كنت قد أغضبتهم فإنك أغضبت ربك. Abu Bakr, it may be that you made those three poor, weak Muslims angry by what you said to them. And if you made them angry, verily you have made Allah angry. Defending a kafir over the statements of the believers, defending a kafir who was trying to extinguish the light of Islam over the statement of Bilal, who was persecuted for this deen, Salman, who went through all of that fitna to become a Muslim, Suhaib al-Rumi, who put his life on the line. Maybe if you made them angry, you made Allah angry. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, even though he's the best of this ummah, he didn't say, well, that's just how the cookie crumbles, that's how the chips fell, that's how it go. Calmed down, became humble. He went and he said to them, Ya ikhwata, aghdabtukum? My brothers, did I make you upset? Did I make you angry? They said, La, yarhamakallah ya ukhay. No, may Allah have mercy upon you, our little brother. Ya ukhay, meaning our beloved brother. So the point from all of that is what, ikhwani? This is one of the many examples of how the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they understood who's the brother to the Muslim and who's not the brother, no matter what his position is in this dunya. Unfortunately, the Muslims got it backwards now. We have it backwards. We will take our brother and hand him over to the enemy. المسلم أخو المسلم لا يكذبه ولا يظلمه ولا يسلمه إلى العدو. The Muslim is a brother to a Muslim. He doesn't disbelieve him when he speaks to him, nor does he oppress him, nor does he hand him over to the enemy. The Muslim today, he opens up the door and he says to the kuffar, come, let me make it easy for you to kill your brothers. Use our land, use our airport, use our oil. Come kill our brothers. That's how it is today. But don't look at the hukam, look at yourself. Look at yourself. There are people who are our brothers and our sisters, our relatives, and we don't treat them like brothers. So, the akhuwa of al-Islam, ikhwani, it has some fiqh that we want to share with you today. The very first point that we want to make here today, after that brief introduction, is that Allah Ta'ala has established in the Quran, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً, verily the believers are brothers. Allah could have said, Al-mu'minuna ikhwa, the believers are brother. Or He could have said, Inna al-mu'minina ikhwa, verily the believers are brothers. But He said, Innama al-mu'minuna ikhwa. This is for emphasis. This is greater than the believers are brothers. This is verily, no doubt, the believers are brothers. And as I mentioned in the hadith, al-Muslim akhul Muslim, the Muslim is a brother to a Muslim. So that means if you are really a Muslim and you're an Arab, Somalian, Pakistani, white, black, if you're really a Muslim, if you have a problem with taking a white brother as your Muslim brother, something is wrong with your iman. You made takdeeb of the Quran. Allah has mentioned that He made all of us brothers, all of us sisters. Someone says, well, he's not from my clan, so I don't really look at him as a real brother. He's not from my clan. I'm going to treat him like a second-class citizen because he's a reaver. He's like not really a real Muslim, but that's what we get. So the first thing is, it is not permissible for anyone here to have any doubt that everyone who is sitting here, who has made the shahada of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, we are all brothers one to another. All of us. And he said about the brotherhood of the Muslims, the people in this masjid, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-Muslimun tatakafa'u dima'uhum. The Muslims, their blood is equal. Their blood is equal. There's no one here, his blood is more expensive or more important than the next man. If you can imagine, all of us are on a boat, on a ship, and there's a hole in the ship, this ship, and it's sinking, and we have to make the ship light. What we have to do is we have to look for all of the cargo in the ship, and we have to throw it overboard. Take some of our clothes off, throw it overboard. Take what we eat and drink with, throw it overboard. The ship is still sinking. That means there's too many people on the ship. So someone comes up with the bright idea. Let's throw some of the Muslims overboard. Some of us gotta go. Some people say, well, the elders from amongst us, they're closer to death. Let's throw them overboard. Someone else said, no, the little children, they're not mukallafun. If they die, they go right to Jannah. Let's throw them overboard. Someone else says, well, the sheikh, his blood is the most important. He stays. Another one says, well, the women. Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa. Let's throw them overboard. Our religion says nobody can get thrown overboard. Not a single person here. Al-Muslimun tatakafa'u dima'uhum. The Muslims, their blood is equal. No one's blood is more expensive than the next guy. Now, there are different positions. The alim, his position is different from the one who is not an alim. No doubt. But our blood is equal. Why? Because we're brothers. So the akhuwa in al-Islam requires that every sister in this masjid, every brother in this masjid, look around and not find a problem with another human being who's in here, who's claiming Islam, not finding a problem with that individual. So the Brotherhood of al-Islam, ikhwani, it has some arkan, some pillars in which it is built upon. And the Brotherhood of al-Islam, it has some darajat, it has some levels. There's a low level and a high level we have to come to know about. The Brotherhood of al-Islam has huquq, rights. We have rights over each other. We have to come to know about that. So we'll try our best to get through as much as we possibly can. Now, this is a lecture, this is a dars. But more than that, ikhwani, this is nasiha from me to you, a reminder from me to you, so that we can start to understand and comprehend and practice this akhuwa of al-Islam. As it relates to the arkan of the Brotherhood of al-Islam, everyone knows that the rukn is the janabu shayl aqwa. As the ulama of al-Islam say, the pillar is that thing of the structure that is the most strongest part. The arkan of al-Islam are 5. The arkan of al-iman are 6. If any rukn from the arkan of Islam or iman are lost, then the person's Islam is jammed up. His iman is jammed up. Similarly, with the arkan of the Brotherhood of Al-Islam, if one of these rukn is lost, then the Brotherhood is jammed up. The arkan of the Brotherhood are 3, and they come from the Quran and the Sunnah. From the Quran, it is the statement of Allah Ta'ala in Surah At-Tawbah, and what the scholars call ayatul sayf, the ayat of the sword. This is a trivia question that I'm going to ask you at the end of the lecture. The scholar said that ayatul sayf, the ayat of the sword, abrogated more ayats than any other ayat in the Quran. In the beginning of Islam, the Muslims had to turn the other cheek. They had to be patient. They didn't have the power or the ability to deal with the kuffar. So they had to turn the other cheek. They had to be patient. They had to look the other way. They had to make hijrah. They could not make a muqamam, and they couldn't go against the kuffar. But then when ayatul sayf was revealed, Surah At-Tawbah, Surah Al-Bara, at the end of the hijrah, at the end of Islam, ayatul sayf abrogated all of those ayahs about turn the other cheek. So when I ask you, inshallah, what ayat abrogated more ayat than any other ayat, you're going to say ayatul sayf. Make sure you're paying attention. Allah Ta'ala said in ayatul sayf, فَإِذَا انْسَلَخَ الْأَشْهُرُ الْحُرُمُ فَاقْتُلُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَيْثُ وَجَدتَّمُوهُمْ وَخُذُوهُمْ وَاحْصُرُوهُمْ وَاقْعُدُوا لَهُمْ كُلَّ مَرْصَدٍ فَإِنْ تَابُوا وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ فَخَلُّوا سَبِيلَهُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. If the months that are sacred, if they pass by Ya Muhammad, then kill the mushrikeen wherever you find them. Kill them. Take them and lie in wait for them and deal with them seriously. But if they make tawbah and they establish salah and give the zakat, then let them go. Verily Allah is Ghafoor, Allah is Rahim. That's ayat number 5 from Surah At-Tawbah. Allah said, kill those mushrikeen wherever you find them, but if they make tawbah or they establish salah and they give zakat, then let them go. Why? Is explained in the other ayat from Surah At-Tawbah. That's ayat number 5, ayatul sayf. And then ayat number 11, Allah Ta'ala said, فَإِن تَابُوا وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ. If they make tawbah and establish salah and give zakat, they are your brothers in the religion. So Allah established the Brotherhood of Al-Islam with these 3 things. Before we move on to the levels of this Brotherhood, I have to explain what does this mean if they establish salat and give zakat and they make tawbah. Ikhwani, making tawbah means 2 things, has 2 possible meanings. Pay attention so that we can understand the akhuwa of Al-Islam. Tawbah means, if they make tawbah, meaning if the man is a mushrik and a kafir and he becomes a Muslim, then he becomes your brother. Even if he happens to be the president of Israel right now, who are killing our brothers, oppressing the Muslims. If he became a Muslim, we take him as our Muslim brother, because he made tawbah from shirk and kufr into Islam. The companion Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiyallahu anhu, before embracing Islam, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to embrace Islam, but I want to make it conditional. I'll embrace Islam under the condition that Allah forgives me for what I did. I fought against you, killed some of your companions, did the khamr, made zina, killed some babies alive, girl babies. I want to be forgiven. Rasulullah says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Sa'd, أَوَلَا تَعْلَمَ أَنَّ الْإِسْلَامَ يَجُبُّ مَا كَانَ قَبْلُهُ. Sa'd, didn't you know, don't you know, Al-Islam wipes away whatever went before it, whatever you did, whatever he did before Islam, it wipes it away. So many of us know the story of Hamza, who was killed by Wahshi radiyallahu anhuma. Wahshi killed Hamza when Wahshi was a kafir, and then Wahshi became a Muslim. In the books of history it says that when Wahshi came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to embrace Islam, Rasulullah turned away. And then he turned away. And then he turned away. And finally he took the bay'ah and allowed Wahshi to accept Islam. Famous narration. That narration is da'if. That narration is not authentic. The matan is not authentic and the chain of narration is not authentic. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was the one who told us, يَضْحَكُ اللَّهُ مِنْ رَجُلَيْنِ. Allah laughs at two men. Allah laughs at two men. They are the two men who fight each other. One is a Muslim, one is a kafir. The kafir kills the Muslim, he goes to Jannah, the shaheed. And then the murderer becomes a Muslim and dies, and then he goes to Jannah. Allah laughs at them in a way that befits His majesty. بِطَرِيقَةٍ تَلِيقُ بِجَلَالَتِهِ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى. And how many other companions killed people while they were kuffar and then they embraced the religion? So al-Islam wipes away what went before it. If a person becomes a Muslim, we have to embrace him. Someone has a problem, he's a racist, like I used to be a racist, didn't like white people where we grew up, we didn't like them and they didn't like us. If we caught them in our neighborhood, we dealt with them. If they caught us in their neighborhood, they dealt with us. You come into the religion of Islam, he is a white brother, white as snow, and his eyes are blue. You cannot refer to him anymore as a white boy. You can't refer to him as a cracker and those other derogatory terms, and vice versa. He's a white brother and he hated black people, and then he sees that there are Muslims who are another color other than him. He's a racist European, thinks that he and his people are Allah's gift to creation. White people better than everyone else. And Christianity helps that concept. That's why Jesus is white to them. The angels are white to them. All of the Anbiya are white to them. That makes those white people think they're better than other people. Racism. It's institutionalized racism in Christianity. He becomes a Muslim, he has to look at his brother and he has to accept people as his brother, and he says what? إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. The best one amongst us is the one who has the most taqwa. That's the meaning of a tawbah as it relates to a non-Muslim. As it relates to a non-Muslim. As it relates to a person who's already a Muslim, a tawbah means someone has oppressed you. He really stole your money. He divorced your daughter. He did something where he was really wrong. But then he made tawbah from what he did. He felt sorry for what he did and he came to you and he apologized to you. He made an effort to make peace with you. You have to embrace him as your brother. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "At-ta'ibu min adh-dhanbi kaman la dhanba lahu." The one who made tawbah from his sin is like the one who doesn't have a sin at all. So the Muslims in our masjid right now, there are Muslims who are at odds with other Muslims because of something that transpired, but the person is sorry for what happened, but we still don't want to deal with them. No, if they make tawbah, they're your brothers. You're supposed to come together. You got 3 days to be upset. After that, the Muslims, the brothers, you have to come together. As for the salat, ikhwani, the salat is clear. Al-ahd alladhi baynana wa baynahum as-salat faman tarakaha faqad kafara. The contract, the difference between us and them is the salah. Whoever leaves it, he has disbelieved. He's a kafir, the one who doesn't pray. Kafir billahi. بين العبد وبين الشرك الصلاة أو ترك الصلاة. The difference between a slave being a Muslim and a kafir is whether or not he makes the salah. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, he said, كان أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يرون شيء من الأعمال تركه كفرا غير الصلاة. The companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our example, as we mentioned, the companions did not see the abandonment or leaving off any action as kufr other than the salah. Umar radiyallahu anhu used to tell the people, لا حظ في الإسلام لمن أضاع الصلاة. The one who lost his prayer, he has no portion of Islam. So when we look in this masjid right now, I would say, Wallahi, thumma billahi, thumma tallahi. Every Muslim here, he has a number of Muslims connected to him, his relatives, his immediate family, his neighbors. The vast majority of Muslims who are connected to us don't pray. The vast majority of people he knows, and you know, and you know, and you, they don't pray. So is it strange what's taking place with this ummah today? فَخَلَفَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ أَدَاعُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ فَسَوْفَ يَلْقَوْنَ غَيًّا إِلَّا مَنْ تَابَ وَآمَنَ وَعَمِلَ الصَّالِحَاتِ. Came a group of people after the Salaf, the people went before us, a group of people who they lost the prayer and they followed their desires. They're going to get the recompense of that reward, except those who make tawbah and they believe and they do righteous deeds. Those are the people who are going to enter into the Jannah. So if they make tawbah and they make the salat, ikhwani, they are your brothers. If they don't pray, they're not your brothers. Man salla salatana wastaqbala qiblatana wa akala dhabihatana fadaka al-muslim lahu mal al-muslimin wa alayhi ma alayhim. Whoever prays the prayer that we pray, and he faces this qibla that we face, and he eats the dhabiha that we slaughter, he slaughters his meat and he says Bismillah because he's a Muslim. Whoever does that, that's a Muslim. He has rights over them and they have rights over him. So what happens is, one of the oppressive Muslim leaders, like Hosni Mubarak for an example, he goes to the Masjid of Al-Azhar or any Masjid in Egypt, and he starts to pray, and the camera is on him, and he's looking at the camera, and he's making ruku looking at the camera, and the brothers say, he's a kafir. He's just making salah so that the people can see, and that's it. Tasannu'a. Did Allah send you to open up the man's heart? The man is praying. We don't put people outside this deen except with what is clear. Just as they come in this deen with what is clear. So if a man we don't like is praying, we have to embrace that individual as a Muslim, unless we have other reasons to reject that. As for the zakat, ikhwani, as for the zakat, Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu, Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, he said that he heard the Prophet say, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, umirtu an uqatil an-nasa hatta yashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu wa yaqimu as-salata wa yu'tu az-zakat. فإن فعلوا ذلك فقد عصموا مني دماءهم وأموالهم إلا بحق الإسلام وحسابهم على الله عز وجل. I have been ordered to fight the people until they believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and until they make the salah and give the zakat. If the people do those three things, then their monies and their blood are protected from me, except by the right of Islam, and then their hisab is with Allah. As zakat, if the person is paying the zakat, he is from our brothers. And for that reason, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, in his khilafah, ikhwan, there were a group of people who were from the desert. After the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they said, we believe in La ilaha illallah, we believe in salat, we believe in siyam, we believe in hajj, and we believe in the zakat, but we're not giving you any more money, we're going to keep our money. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu declared war against those people, and they are known as the murtaddeen, people who left the religion because they didn't give the zakat, but they believed in the other aspects of this deen. That's the meaning of that ayah. That's the meaning of those three arkan. Now we move on to the levels of the brotherhood. If you know someone who made tawbah, kafir into Islam, a Muslim oppressed you and then he made tawbah, you have to make peace. Al-Hajr, and boycotting 3 days, that's it. A person is praying, that's your brother. Respecting this qibla, respecting the dhabiha. The person is giving zakat, that's your brother in Islam. And we have not been sent to go around asking and investigating. As it relates to the levels of this brotherhood, we have to know about the levels so that we can aspire to be on the highest level. The lowest level of the brotherhood is Adam al-Adha. The lowest level of the brotherhood is that you do not make adha to your Muslim brother or sister. Al-adha means to harm them, to bother them. This is an adha. Afwan ya akhi. This is an adha. This is a light form of it. Cursing him is worse. Making ghiba of him is worse. Lying on him is worse. Rejecting him because of racism. He wants to get married and he's a good brother, inshallah. And you reject him because you're a racist. And that makes a fitna for him in his life. That's the lowest level. That you don't bother me and I don't bother you. Don't put something in the road to bother me, and I don't put something in the road to bother you. إن الذين فتنوا المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثم لم يتوبوا فأولئك إيش الآية؟ إن الذين فتنوا المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثم لم يتوبوا فأولئك فلهم عذاب جهنم ولهم عذاب الحريق. Those people who are fitna for the believing men and believing women, and they don't make tawbah from that fitna that they're causing, they are the people who will go into the hellfire, get the punishment of the hellfire and the nar of the hellfire for making a fitna, the fitna of al-adha. والذين يؤذون المؤمنين والمؤمنات بغير ما اكتسبوا فقد احتملوا إثما وبهتانا عظيما. Those people who annoy the believing men and the believing women with what they are not guilty of, they have brought upon themselves a great buhtan. That ayah was revealed because of the qissatul ifk, when the people accused our mother Aisha radiallahu anha and the companion of Rasulullah used to make jihad, Safwan ibn Mu'attal radiallahu anhu, they accused them of making zina. So when you say that a Muslim girl is a fajira without any dalil, a Muslim man is a zani without any dalil, you accuse someone without any dalil, you harm his mother, you harm his father, you harm her husband. The man married the Somalian girl and he's not Somalian. He doesn't know the culture, he doesn't know how it goes. It didn't work, they get divorced. He goes and tells people why he divorced her, and makes a fadiha for the girl and her family. That's adha. So I ask you, brothers, and I ask you this by Allah, I ask you by Allah to be honest with yourselves. There are a group of people who say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companions all apostated after him except 5 or 6. That's their diqqah. Except 5 or 6. And his wives were prostitutes. Aisha radiallahu anha, according to them, when Rasulullah would go to make jihad, the Jews would be lined up outside her door, her back door. When Rasulullah leaves the house, she's opening the door for them to come one by one to have fahisha with her. I ask you by Allah, how are you going to ask me to cooperate with those people? If someone said that about my mother who's a non-Muslim right now, I'm going to deal with him. Lie on my mother and say my biological mother did that? Definitely Aisha wouldn't do something like that. Person says Abu Bakr and Umar are homosexuals. They were homosexuals, and you tell me, no, we have to cooperate with them? Al-Islam, unity. Wallahi, that's not the unity that the companions understood. Allah orders you to slaughter a cow. They said that cow is Aisha. That cow is symbolic, it's Aisha. Yawm al-Qiyamah, when our Mahdi al-Muntazir, when he comes, he's going to raise Aisha out of the grave and put the hadd of zina on her. And you're telling me, let's be united with them? Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali and Ukasha and Bilal and Usamah and Zayd, did they understand that ayat the way those people understood that ayat? So before that's adha to Aisha, that's adha to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because what you're saying is he didn't know who was around him. He didn't know who to choose to write the Quran. He chose Kuffar, Muawiyah, to write the Quran. He's a kafir. So the lowest level of the brotherhood, ikhwani, is don't annoy your Muslim brother. This is a masjid. Al-Kamal is lillahi ta'ala. People are trying to make an effort. Give the Muslims a place to pray. You can't please all of the people all of the time. There are some people from the community who all they do is complain. Whatever masjid you go to, they are not builders. They just complain, look what you're doing, you're not doing this, why you go do it? That's how they are. Yeah, don't make ether. If you can't help, then be quiet. As the Prophet used to tell the people. He told the man, Kuffa anka hada, hold your tongue. If you can't help, don't harm. Help the people by being quiet. That's the lowest level of the brotherhood. The second level, ikhwani, of the darajat of the brotherhood, higher than that level. The second one is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is one of the most difficult hadith to practice in the dunya. But if we practiced it, wallahi, the problems that we have as an ummah are going to be raised up. Illa an yasha Allah. He says sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه في الرواية من الخير. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه من الخير. None of you is a real true believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. It's a difficult ayat, a hadith to follow. If we practice this, our problems will be destroyed. Illa yasha'Allah. I don't want you making ghiba about me, so I shouldn't make ghiba about you. I don't want you coming asking, how did I purchase my new car? Having su'adhan. Is it with riba? Is it with finance? And did I steal it? So I shouldn't also come and ask those questions about you. I don't want you disrespecting my honor, looking at my wife, so I shouldn't look at your wife. I definitely don't want one of you to come and to take my daughter and run away and elope and marry her without my permission, because if I catch you, I'm gonna break your neck. You guys are laughing? I would say wallahi, but I'm not gonna swear by the ma'asi of Allah. So since I don't want you taking my daughter, I shouldn't take your daughter and run off. Love for your brother what you love for yourself. My son, I want him to marry from that family, and I don't want them to look at me and reject my son based upon frivolous issues, racism and jahiliyyah. So I shouldn't do it to his son when he comes to me to get married. We're not like that. We're mutaffifun. We are mutaffifun. Waylun lil mutaffifin. That's what we are. We want all of our haqq in full, but we don't want to give the people their haqq. Double standards. That's the next level. It takes more effort to love for your brother what you love for yourself. Finally, ikhwani, as it relates to the darajat of al-ukhuwah, the highest level of al-ukhuwah, what we should aspire for and try to hit, is a new word for some of you, inshallah. And that word is al-ithar. 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 Let me hear you say that. Al-ithar. Say it together, ikhwan. One jama'ah. Al-ithar. Good job. Al-ithar. What is al-ithar? That's a new word you have to put in your vocabulary. Everyone here has to learn Arabic language. Everyone. It is the source. It is the key. Someone comes and tells me there's a Somalian brother, he has a lot of knowledge. I say, does he know Arabic? They say no. I say, I don't know about that. You have to know this Arabic language because it is the key. So everyone has a responsibility to learn this language. It'll help you memorize the Quran, read the Quran, understand this deen. Al-ithar, a new word. It means to give someone preference over yourself. Here's some water. Instead of drinking the water, and I have a haq. This is my water. They brought this water for me. This Abu Usaamah. This water had my name written on it 50,000 years before Allah created the heavens and the earth. This is the qadr. Got my name written on it. But I say, okay, here's my brother. I'm going to give it to him because I have ithar. That's the highest level of brotherhood. To prefer your brother over yourself. To prefer your brother. It's your right what you're doing. It's your haqq. But you, from your iman and your ikhlas and your ihsan and your desire to make a taqarrub with Allah, getting close to Allah, you give him that thing. Allah described the companions. He said in the Quran, لِلْفُقَرَاءِ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ الَّذِينَ أُخْرِجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ وَأَمْوَالِهِمْ يَبْتَغُونَ فَضْلًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانًا وَيَنْصُرُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الصَّادِقُونَ. Allah described the muhajirin, those people who left Mecca and gave up all their property and their money, lillah, and they went to Medina to start from zero. The muhajirin, they get the zakawat. Allah mentioned in this ayah, the muhajirin, those people who were expelled and kicked out of their homes and their money was taken from them. They were seeking for the ridwan of Allah, and they were seeking for the pleasure of Allah, and they helped Allah and His Messenger. Those are the sadiqun. Allah called them the sadiqun, and you're calling them kuffar. Bi'sa ma qult, qatalakum Allah. So those are the muhajirun. And then Allah described the ansar, those people who were in Medina, the ones who when the muhajirin came to them, they opened up their hearts and their doors for the muhajirin. And this is the point. Allah Ta'ala said, وَالَّذِينَ تَبَوَّأُوا الدَّارَ وَالْإِيمَانَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ يُحِبُّونَ مَنْ هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَا يَجِدُونَ فِي صُدُورِهِمْ حَاجَّةً مِمَّا أُوتُوا وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And those people in Medina, the ones who lived in Medina and they took Iman before many of the muhajirin, they love those people who come and they make hijrah to them. And they don't have anything in their hearts against them and how Allah has honored them over them. Because Quraysh better than them, Muhajirin better than the Ansar. And they prefer them over themselves even though they are poor. The Ansar prefer them, had ithar, even though they are poor. And whoever is able to get rid of the stinginess of his soul, he is from those who are successful. I'm going to stop here with the explanation of this, the example very quickly. The example of the ithar of the companions, how they were. Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu, he was a rich man in Mecca. And ikhwani, when we say Abu Bakr, Uthman, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, when we say that they were rich, don't think rich 100,000 pounds, 200,000 pounds. They had money like Bill Gates. They had money like the guy who owns Chelsea. They had a lot of money. And they became Muslims and gave all that money to Allah. Abdurrahman had that kind of money, gave it all up and made hijrah. Rasulullah made the one from Mecca the brother to the one from Medina, and they will live together. If one of them dies, he inherits from the other one. Breaking down the barriers. The Somalians sit over there, Asians over there, Arabs over there. La, he put them together. Somali with this one, Arab with that one. Anyway, the man who was with Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he said, look, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, I got some money. I got 2 wives as well. I have 2 wives. You choose the one that you want and I'll divorce her and you marry her. And I'll give you half of my money and you can have it. Some of us right now, we have 500 pounds saved up, 1,000 pounds, 2,000 pounds. Some of us have 100 pounds. Can you imagine giving someone half of your 2 grand, whatever you have saved up? Someone comes from Somalia right now and you give him half of what you own. And he's not your blood relative. That's those companions. That's why Allah chose them to be with Rasulullah. If that was left up to one of us, we're not going to give him anything. We barely give the Masjid. The Masjid, we have to beg to get the money from the Muslims, to use the facilities. Half of whatever you own, to give it to another brother. The man said, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, I'll divorce the one you want. Many of us, what would we do? Well, this one, she can't cook. I don't like her anyway. She's kind of old, overweight, underweight. I'll divorce her. This is the wife you can have. And I'll keep the other one. That's what we'll do. No, you choose the one you want. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, and I'm finished now. Abdurrahman ibn Auf said, Barakallahu laka fi malik wa fi ahlik. May Allah bless you in your money and your family. Just show me where the marketplace is. I know how to hustle. I know how to get paid. I don't want to be on the welfare system if I can help it. I don't want any handouts. Nuhina and Zubad al-Mushrikeen. We have been prohibited from taking the resources of the kuffar. Inni lanasta'een bil mushrik ala al-mushrikeen. I'm not going to use a mushrik to fight the mushrikeen. وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. I don't want to be on welfare. Just show me where the marketplace is. That's the ithar, ikhwani. Give his wife. You choose one, give his money. There are huquq of al-Islam, a lot of them. I wanted to deal with the rights that we have using the hadith of Abu Hurairah, Haqq al-Muslim al-Muslim sit, the rights that the Muslim have on the other Muslim 6, but it's no time. I'm going to travel to London tonight or tomorrow, inshallah, but if we can work it in the schedule somehow, we would like to come back to finish that last part that we want to remind you of the rights that we have upon each other. إِذَا لَقِيتَهُ فَسَلِّمْ عَلَيْهِ. If you meet him, give him salams. We only give salams to those who we know. Right now there are some Asians here. They're here for the first time. First time they came to this masjid. When you saw the new face from our brothers from Leicester, like Abdul Rashid and other than him, did you make an effort, the local brothers, to go to them and say, Akhi, what's your name? Where you come from? He's your brother. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. No, he's strange, a stranger, he remains a stranger. He's your brother. Get to know your brother. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.
My question is, what's the big reason that what's the big reason that we Ummah have left the Brotherhood?
What is the biggest reason that the Ummah has left the Brotherhood? What is the biggest reason? There are a number of important reasons. One you alluded to. One of the major reasons is the hubb al-dunya wa karahiyatul maut. The hubb of the dunya. Prophet told us sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, إِذَا تَبَعْيَعْتُمْ بِالْعِينَ وَرَضِيتُمْ بِالزَّرَعِ وَأَخَذْتُمْ أَذْنَابَ الْبَقَرِ وَتَرَكْتُمُ الْجِهَادِ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ صَلَّطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ ظُلًّا. If you people started to preoccupy yourselves with buying and trading with riba, and you take the tails of the oxen and you become engaged in agriculture and you leave jihad fi sabilillah, Allah will make you people lowly. So the people have become preoccupied with themselves, just what is going to be beneficial to me and my immediate family, or what is going to be beneficial to me and me alone. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ used to warn the Muslims about the shuh, being a person who is stingy, being a person who wants a lot of money. Every time he goes home, he counts his money. Whenever he gets more money, he puts it with the old money and he counts it from the beginning to the end. Instead of just saying, I've added 200 more pounds, so therefore I had 2,200 pounds, he takes the money out and he goes 20, 40, 60, 80, and he goes through the whole process until he gets to 2,200 pounds. Following week he gets 200 more pounds. He starts from the beginning again, 20, 40, 60, 80, until he gets to 2,400 pounds, and on and on. That's a shuh. And he's always looking who has what, and he doesn't want to let the money go. So he used to warn us of this shuh, wanting to have this money, because it did what? أَهْلَكَ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلُكُمْ. It destroyed the people who went before you. It made them start fighting each other, and it made them start being in the race to see who can get the most. Leaving the deen, turning to the dunya is from the biggest reasons. Wallahu a'lam wa a'lam. The advice as it relates to the Somalian community, their large numbers, everyone knows in the dunya the problems and the mashakil facing the Somalian community for the last 15 or 20 years. Early 70s, the 70s, beginning of the 80s, and the 70s, 60s, in the African countries, Somalia was one of those places that had some power, relatively speaking, had a future with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed that part of the world with in terms of livestock, bananas, and other than that. Now when we see Somalians are laji'een everywhere. I go to Toronto quite often, and when you go to Toronto, you think you're in the capital of Somalia. No, you don't. Because of the way the Somalians are acting, the young people in Somalia, the way they act in Toronto. You don't think you're in Somalia. Anyway, the situation that took place and transpired with the Somalian community and the way of getting out of it is the same reason why Iraq, Palestine, Kashmir, Uzbekistan, and other than that, why those Muslims are in the same condition that they're in and how to get it off. And it goes back to the original statement that I made. And Imam Malik used to say, لا يصلح آخر هذه الأمة إلا بما صلح به أولها. The last of this ummah will not be rectified except with what was rectified the first of this ummah with. So until the Somalian community go back to the book of Allah and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam according to the understanding of the companions, they're going to suffer. Illa insha Allah. Kashmir, Palestine, Iraq, the Muslim ummah, until we go back to our religion, we're going to suffer. And even though the Somalians are Somalians and you guys have your own unique situation, still, I don't think it's good to separate yourselves from us, because he told us sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى منه سائر الجسد بالسهر والحمى أو بالحمى والسهر. The Muslim body, their example is like the Muslims. Their example is like one body, one human being. Not multiple human beings, Somalian, Arab, this, that. It's one body. If one part of that body hurts, the rest of the body suffers from sleeplessness and from fever. So when the man has a toothache and it's hurting and he can't sleep, his other body doesn't say, oh, that's the head's problem. That's the problem with the tooth. We're going to forget about it. No. Every part of the body is going to suffer from what's taking place in his mouth. But that's not the case. Somalians have their situation going on, so the Muslims have forgotten the Somalians. Iraqis have their situation going on, and the Iraqis have their problems. Not only that, Ikhwani, but I made an observation I want to share with you. I made an observation about Somalians. I went to a Somalian restaurant yesterday, and we were eating, 4 of us. And we got a big plate, rice, spaghetti, pasta, chicken, meat, all of that. So we ate and we left some. And we were about to get up and leave, and we were going to leave that food there. I said to myself, wow, these brothers are Somalians now. I know they know the importance of food, because just where we come from, we should have learned that the food is a ni'mah. But we've come to this country and we can become desensitized to the reality of what's going on back at home. So if you didn't have any relatives back at home, you may not worry at all of what's going on. If you have a relative, he's going through something, maybe you worry, depending on what's going on. But being here, the luxury. Some of us are on welfare, but we're living in luxury. So it's easy for the Somalian to forget about his own people. How many Somalis in here have made dua to Allah Azza wa Jalla consistently in the last third of the night, crying to Allah to change the situation? Wallahi, dua alone can change the situation. But the people don't make that dua for the most part. So we don't want to subtract the Somalian community, but as it relates to their unique experience, what is applicable to them is applicable to the rest of the Ummah. Allah Azza wa Jalla has promised us He will give us the istikhlaf in the earth if we return back to our deen. Wallahu a'lam. Don't forget the young brothers out here. A lot of the young brothers, we love to see that they're here. We have to do more in terms of reaching out to the shabab so that they don't get lost in the wilderness of the UK. Start taking as heroes, hip-hoppers, and other than that. Another wants to know the difference between usury, riba, and rishwa. Rishwa, which is bribery, and dhulm, oppression. Between them is khusus and umum. Between the three, there is khusus and umum. All rishwa and all riba is dhulm. All riba and all rishwa is dhulm. They're all dhulm. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل إلا أن تكون تجارة عن تراض منكم. Oh, you believe, don't devour your monies between yourselves with what is wrong, except through tijara and you giving or taking money and the person is allowing you to do it. As it relates to a riba is the most serious of these issues, and it is a kabira from the kaba'ir, bal it is from the akbar al-kaba'ir. اجتنبوا السبع الموبقات الشرك بالله والسحر وقتل النفس التي حرمها الله وأكل الربا وأكل مال اليتيم والتولي يوم الزحف وقذف المؤمنات المحسنات المؤمنات الغافلات. Stay away from the 7 things that will destroy you, the major sins. And he mentioned from them a riba. So it is out of these issues between rishwa and riba. Riba is the biggest. Inna abwab riba 72 baba adnaha ka'ityan ar-rajul ummuhu fil Islam. Riba is 72 branches. The lowest branch of riba is like a man having relations with his mother after he became a Muslim. So riba is the biggest one and is the most serious. And it's usury. And usury is, let me have this thing, the price is set, it's a particular price, but because I can't pay it all up front, you're going to charge me extra. That's riba. And like I said, 72 branches, different types of riba, different ways. Riba can be in money, riba can be in dates, riba can be in qamah, riba can be in so many other issues. As for rishwa is simply, hey, I need this to be done. I'll give you this, I'm going to grease your palm, and you give me what I want. He doesn't have any right. You shouldn't have to pay him. You should be equal to everyone else. You bring the proper ingredients, you get what you need. But he doesn't have all the proper ingredients. Or maybe he does have all of what he needs, but he wants some special treatment. Or that particular person makes you do it because he is not making enough money, or he has he's shahir. So there's a big difference between riba and the rishwa, and the riba is akbar wa a'zam indallahi ta'ala bila shak.
I've just got a question about welfare. Is there anything that you can say, brother, to sort of encourage us to take welfare, to stay away from welfare?
Concerning the welfare and the welfare system, if you have a right to take the welfare because you lived here and you used to work and then you got hurt and now you are being repaid for the money they took from you, and you have a right, you're a citizen, you can take the welfare. If you have come here and you have a justified right because there are no other resources, you are a refugee or something like that, it's permissible to take the welfare. No one is going to say it's haram to take the welfare. What I'm saying is, welfare, ikhwani, is against the spirit of al-Islam. Al-yad al-ulya khayru min al-yad al-sufla. The upper hand is better than the lower hand. Being the giver is better than being the receiver. We should teach our sons how to be men and how to stand up on their own feet and go out and work. Welfare becomes haram when we start running scams like the Muslims run. The man has a job, cash in hand, drives a taxi, he works in a takeaway, he has some other job, and he's still getting the welfare to get more. That's all he wants, and he lies to the kuffar. He's getting welfare and he's having babies to get more welfare. That's against the spirit of Islam. The man came, said, Ya Rasulullah, give me the sadaqah, I need some money. He told him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's better for you to go and chop down some wood. Get an axe, go chop down some wood and sell that wood. That's better for you than to take the sadaqah. And you have a right for that. He saw his grandson, Hassan, about to pick up a date from the zakat. Rasulullah says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, bah. Hey, leave it alone. Bah. Nuhina and Osakhin Nas. We have been prohibited, Ahlul Bayt. We've been prohibited from eating the dirt of the people. The zakat money is to purify the monies of the people. So they're giving you the dirty money to purify the money that remains with them. Rasulullah, I'm too high, and Ahlul Bayt were too high to take the osakh of the people. So you'll find a person from the Muslims, he brags that he's from Ahlul Bayt. He's an Arab, Somalian. He may be even, wallahi, I know a revert brother from Trinidad. He's a revert. He started claiming he was from Ahlul Bayt. He's a revert. That's like me saying I'm from Ahlul Bayt. You'll find that individual claiming you can't marry us because we're from Ahlul Bayt. No, you're not. We're better than you. But then he'll turn around in the month of Ramadan saying, can I have some zakat? Can I have some zakat? Yeah, if you're from Ahlul Bayt, you don't have a right to the zakat. So the point is, Rasulullah ﷺ told his grandson Hassan, Bakh. We have been prohibited from the dirt of the people. So it is an amazing feat, ikhwani, to see someone, al-jihad, 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 al-khilaf, al-khilafa. No, jihad is important, the khilaf is important. But that same person who's calling for the iqamatul khilafa, the kuffar put in the newspaper that he has received 500,000 pounds of welfare money. 500 pounds, 500,000 pounds of welfare money. So what did they want to do? They wanted to show these kuffar, look how these Muslims really are. So if you have to take the welfare, ikhwani, the welfare is permissible. It's permissible. But don't be of the people who are satisfied with that. Taking welfare will make you lazy and apathy sets in, and we are a religion and a group of people of production. Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. The question I'm trying to ask is, what should be the relationship between me and a non-Muslim?
That's an excellent question. Who asked that question? MashaAllah. What's your name, man? Huh? Mukhtar. Where you from? You're from Birmingham? You're from Birmingham?
No.
From where? What city?
Manchester.
Concerning the question, the intelligent question of our little brother, our mujahid, al-akh, Mukhtar, sallamullah min kulli su'in wa makruh. What is the relationship of the Muslim with the non-Muslim? First of all, he has to remember that Allah's Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, al-Islam ya'la wa la yu'la alayhi. Al-Islam is uppermost and nothing is above al-Islam. Al-Islam is uppermost. So when he goes to school, for an example, and in his class there are other kuffar, he says to the teacher, I want to sit in the first row in front of the teacher. He's not afraid. Whenever he's in school, he's trying to be the best one and compete to show those people, I'm the best one, and his hand is always up. Whenever she asks a question, his hand is always up. He's honest, he's truthful. They see him as a person who doesn't use foul language. He's an example for them. They see that his tongue is always remembering his religion. Astaghfirullah, subhanallah, a'udhu billah, insha'Allah. They see that from him. Hacho, alhamdulillah. They see that. They say, this guy is different. He's not stealing, nor is he hanging out with the honeys. He's not with the women. He's not hanging out. He's a real Muslim. That's how he has to be. As it relates to those decent kuffar, because there are some decent kuffar, he remembers that Allah says, لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم ولم يقاتلوكم إيش؟ لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين. Allah doesn't make it impermissible for you to treat those people who are good, those people from the kuffar who don't fight you for their religion. They don't fight you for their religion. Allah doesn't prevent you from being good and nice to them. Like in this country, One of the reasons I'm in England right now is because England is better than America from the angle of the way they deal with Muslims. They're the same coin, different sides of the coin, but America is tougher. I knew sooner or later they were going to try to say secret evidence, put me in Guantanamo Bay, and I don't have anything to do with what they're accusing me of. I don't believe in blowing people up. That's not our religion. I believe in jihad, but I don't believe in killing innocent people. That's not my deen, but they'll say that's what I believe, and they'll lock you up, nobody can help you. So I came to England, and they let me in, and they don't bother me. Just like you brothers came to England, and it's better than Holland, and it's better than Sweden. So Allah doesn't make it haram for you to treat these people well, as long as they treat you well. But if they try to disrespect our deen in any shape, form, or fashion, the Muslim can't become weak. His name is Muhammad. He doesn't let them call him Mo. He says, you have to learn my name. Muhammad. I'm not Mo. It's Muawiyah. It's not Mo. My name is Abdul Latif. It's not Larry. My name is Samir. It's not Sam. You have to stand up for your deen. You have to be strong. The Muslim girl has to wear her hijab. She has to wear her hijab, ikhwani. The little girl in Luton, the little girl, 12 years old, 2 years ago, she fought to have her hijab, and we're going to end with this. 2 years ago, at the age of 12, fought to have her hijab on. Her family supported her. Kuffar kicked her out of school. She missed her education. 2 years later, she won the case, so that our daughters and women can now go to any school in this country. She defeated them in that jihad. That was jihad. And yansurkum Allah fala ghaliba lakum. She defeated those kuffar. But then the kuffar come and say, yeah, but his daughter don't wear hijab, his sister doesn't wear hijab, that one doesn't wear hijab. The Muslim sister has to say, well, I'm not responsible for that. I'm responsible for myself, and I'm wearing the hijab. So she keeps her hijab on with the kuffar. So we practice our religion, ikhwan, if we're in Mecca or Medina, and we practice our religion the same way or even better in these countries. So we end with the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, يَأْتِي عَلَى النَّاسِ زَمَانٌ الصابر على دينه كالقابض على الجمر. The time is going to come for the people where the one who is patient with his religion, he's going to be like the one who is holding a burning coal. You want to hold on to your religion, it's going to be like holding on to the burning coal. The coal is going to burn your hand, but you still have to hold on to it, because if you let it go, there's your heat, there's your fire, there's your warmth of what you cook with, all of that. So you have to hold on to your deen. If you let this deen go, there goes the light, there goes the warmth from your children, there goes everything about you, your name, everything. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal by His Ism al-A'zam and yuwaffiqna wa iyyakum lima yuhib wa yarda. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.